Dear colleagues, I would like to share with you some of the recent data related to lifestyle and brain health. And of course, at the beginning, I would like to express my gratitude to my dear friend, Professor Ekaterina Titianova, for inviting me to share this with you. I'm, of course, very sorry that it is not possible to see you in person, but due to this epidemiological situation, we have to use technology. So we are neurologists. We know that brain is really very important. And there is one motto of World Federation of Neurology several years ago: there is no health without brain health. But let us go more than 100 years ago and see what scientists at that time were thinking about brain. Santiago Ramon y Cajal, he was neuroscientist and a Nobel Prize winner. He was investigated a lot through microscope, dendrites, and together with Golgi, he got the Nobel Prize. And he saw that when he was looking and activating some of this tissue of the brain, that the other part was activated too. So he called this mechanism of neuroplasticity. It was really invented several years ago by William James. But after this investigation, nobody was taking care about neuroplasticity until the end of 20th century and decade of the brain. But let us remember this important sentence of Santiago Ramon y Cajal, that every man can, if he so desires, become the sculptor of his own brain. And we will try to see how we can do that. These are fathers of neuroplasticity also, that, as I told you, William James was the first one. Erich Kandel is another Nobel Prize winner. He's still living and investigating a lot of brain. Michael Merzenich, Paul Bach-Rita, and all of them. And also important, Norman Deutsch. He is a neuroscientist from Canada. He is really moved with neuroplasticity, and he published several books. One that is for us very important, The Brain That Changes Itself, and the other, The Brain's Way of Healing. So I definitely recommend these books. You will find a lot of data and important, this is important topic for all of us, related to changing the brain in adult person. So we know that a big component of our lifelong brain health and development depends on what we do with our brains. Environment plays 80% of a role, while genes are only 20%. And individuals who lead mentally stimulated lives through education, occupation, and leisure activities, they have a reduced risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. Pillars of brain health are known. So this is control of a conventional cerebrovascular disease risk factor, then physical exercise, nutrition, stress relaxation, mental stimulation, sleep, and social inclusion. American Heart and Stroke Association and Ralph Sacco in 2011, they made this campaign called Life Simple 7. So 7 simple steps to live better. What are their recommendations? Get active, control cholesterol, eat better, manage blood pressure, lose weight, reduce blood sugar, and stop smoking. And after several years, they published one very big presentation defining optimal brain health in adults. It was a presidential advisory from the American Heart and Stroke Association, published in the Journal of Stroke. So they also, as in those forward campaign, they were defining optimal brain health in adults by avoiding smoking, regular physical activity, maintaining healthy diet, having a body mass index less than 25, untreated hypertension below 120 milligrams and cholesterol. So they are rather strict in their values. American Academy of Neurology, they have also simple stroke prevention tips, 7 proven strategies to slash our risk of brain attack, using our brain to protect our heart. They are also the same points that we already mentioned. Related to cognitive impairment, Lancet Commission of Dementia, they investigated risk factors which can be avoided perhaps to reduce the risk of dementia, and they published in 2017, they published one very nice infographic with a lot of data showing that about 35% of all dementia could be avoided if we would take care during our lifespan of 9 risk factors. So in early life, it's less of education is really a risk factor, what can be changed, of course. In midlife, it is hearing loss, hypertension, and obesity. And in late life, smoking, depression, physical inactivity, social isolation, and diabetes. And so these 9 factors can be, of course, taken care about it and avoided, and then each third dementia would be avoided. And several months ago, they published, the same commission, their new investigation, new data, adding 3 more factors to these 9 that I already mentioned. In midlife, this is traumatic brain injury and alcohol consumption of more than 21 units per week, while in later in life, it is air pollution that is added to these 9. Now we have 12 factors, and the quantity of potentially modifiable factors is higher now, so it's 40%. So not 35, but 40. And the number of dementia that could be avoided is really increased. So let us have a look, take care about all that I already mentioned. So speaking about physical activity, we know that our brain loves when we are physically active, because there are hormones and neurotrophins and all these important endorphins that are there when we are activating our brain by physical activity. And one very important factor is brain-derived neurotrophic factor called BDNF. It is released protecting and repairing our neurons from injury and degeneration, and also it's very important for concentration and also for mood. And physical activity is increasing its quantity. It was discovered after NGF by Rita Levi-Montalcini and Stanley Cohen in 1985, and BDNF is really important, as I already mentioned, for long-term memory, stimulating growth and differentiation of neurons and synapses, and physical activity stimulates increased production and secretion of BDNF. So here we see very nice image where you see the brain after sitting quietly, and the brain on the right side after 20 minutes of walk, that increase the circulation, the metabolism after a relatively short time of activation. So it's just an example. And one of very nice physical activity is dancing. So dancing has been shown to be even more, let's say, important than other sports. And here we see the quantity of BDNF in dancing group in comparison to sport group. So it's more than double in dancing group. So let us dance. It's really useful for our brain and for our mood as well. There are a lot of data. I can't go through all these and many of these studies, but believe me that physical activity has been shown to be really very protective for our brain, related to circulation, to cognition, and all this that we really need in real life.